What if everything you know about human evolution is wrong? What if the missing links in our evolutionary history weren't missing at all, but deliberately hidden from public knowledge? Ancient Sumerian texts reveal a story so profound, it challenges the very foundation of our understanding about human origins. Welcome to The Ancient Gods Who Created Humans Are Finally Revealed. I'm about to take you on a journey through time, uncovering evidence that suggests we may not be who we think we are. Before we dive in, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell because this is just the beginning of our exploration into humanity's hidden past. Let's start with what mainstream science tells us. According to conventional wisdom, humans evolved gradually from primates over millions of years, but there's a problem. A significant problem that archaeologists and anthropologists rarely address publicly. The evolutionary timeline contains mysterious gaps that science struggles to explain. The most puzzling is what scientists call the Great Leap Forward. About 200,000 years ago, when modern humans suddenly appeared with larger brains, more sophisticated tools and complex language. This wasn't a gradual evolution, it was an explosion of advancement. How did this happen? Darwin's theories suggest small incremental changes over vast periods of time. But the fossil record shows something different. A sudden appearance of Homo sapiens with capabilities far beyond our predecessors. What could explain this evolutionary jump? The answer might be hidden in the world's oldest written documents, the Sumerian clay tablets. Over 6,000 years ago, the Sumerians created a sophisticated civilization in what is now Iraq. They weren't just advanced for their time, they possessed knowledge that should have been impossible. Their clay tablets contain detailed astronomical information about all planets in our solar system, including Uranus, Neptune and Pluto planets that weren't officially discovered until thousands of years later. But more shocking are their texts describing beings called the Anunnaki, which literally translates to those who came from heaven to earth. According to these ancient texts, the Anunnaki came from a planet called Nibiru, a massive world with an extremely elliptical orbit around our sun that takes approximately 3,600 years to complete. The tablets describe how Nibiru's atmosphere was failing, and the Anunnaki came to Earth seeking gold to repair it. They first arrived around 450,000 years ago, led by their ruler Anu and his sons Enlil and Enki. These weren't metaphorical beings or mythological characters. The Sumerians described them as flesh and blood, technologically advanced beings from another world. The Anunnaki initially tried mining gold themselves, but found the work too difficult. This is where our story gets truly extraordinary. Frustrated with manual labor, they decided to create a worker race by combining their own genetic material with that of the primitive hominids already on Earth. According to the tablets, the chief scientist Ninmar and the brilliant geneticist Enki conducted numerous experiments, failing repeatedly until they finally succeeded. The tablets described their breakthrough. The birth goddess was present, with her was Enki. They were gods and fashioned the model for all gods. Ninmar cast the spell and placed it in the womb. The baby was the embodiment of all the gods. This genetically engineered being was called Adamu, strikingly similar to the biblical Adam. The tablets describe him as having been created from clay, potentially a primitive metaphor for genetic material and the essence of the gods, their DNA. The first Adamu was sterile, but further genetic modifications eventually created self-replicating humans who could reproduce. Is this just ancient mythology? Consider this. Modern genetic studies have revealed something called the mitochondrial Eve. Evidence that all humans alive today descended from a single woman who lived approximately 200,000 years ago in Africa. This aligns precisely with the time frame and location described in the Sumerian tablets for the creation of modern humans. But the evidence doesn't stop with written texts. Ancient artwork across multiple civilizations appears to depict the Anunnaki. From Sumerian cylinder seals showing tall beings with strange devices and helmets, to Egyptian hieroglyphs depicting elongated-headed figures, to cave paintings showing what appear to be humanoids in spacesuits, visual representations of these gods share striking similarities across completely unconnected cultures. Perhaps most compelling are the countless artifacts showing winged humanoids or beings emerging from what appear to be aircraft. Conventional archaeology dismisses these as religious symbolism, but when examined objectively, they bear an uncanny resemblance to modern depictions of astronauts and aerospace technology. Then there's our DNA itself, potentially the most convincing evidence of all. The human genome contains sections that scientists call junk DNA because they don't appear to serve any function in our biological processes. But what if this isn't junk at all, but the genetic signature of our creators? In 2017, researchers from Kazakhstan's Al-Farabi Kazakh National University published findings suggesting that our junk DNA might actually be a complex mathematical code, one that doesn't appear to have developed through natural evolution. Some geneticists have gone further, suggesting our DNA contains evidence of sophisticated bioengineering that would have been impossible through random mutation or natural selection. Consider another genetic mystery. Humans have 46 chromosomes, while all other great apes have 48. At some point in our evolutionary past, two chromosomes fused together, an event geneticists struggle to explain through natural processes. Could this fusion represent genetic manipulation by the Anunnaki? The Sumerian tablets also describe a catastrophic flood sent by the Anunnaki to wipe out a human population that had grown too large and unruly. Enlil, who had never fully approved of creating humans, convinced the other Anunnaki to keep their departure from Earth secret, essentially condemning humanity to extinction. But Enki, who had led the genetic engineering project and developed compassion for his creations, secretly warned a man named Ziusudra, the Sumerian Noah. He instructed him to build a vessel to save his family and various animal species. We all know the flood myth from the Bible, but what's remarkable is that over 200 different cultures around the world share nearly identical flood stories, from the Americas to Asia, Africa to Europe. How could such specific narrative details be so universal unless they stem from an actual global event? Geological evidence does indeed suggest a massive flooding event approximately 12,000 years ago at the end of the last ice age. This timing aligns with what Sumerian texts describe as the departure of most Anunnaki from Earth. So why isn't this knowledge more widespread? Why don't we learn about the Anunnaki in school alongside other ancient civilizations? The Sumerian tablets themselves provide a clue. They describe how certain Anunnaki remained behind and positioned themselves as gods to the surviving humans, demanding worship and obedience. These beings understood that knowledge is power, and keeping humans ignorant about their true origins ensured continued control. As human civilizations developed, this pattern continued. Religious institutions throughout history have systematically suppressed information that contradicted their narratives. Ancient texts were destroyed, hidden away in secret vaults, or deliberately mistranslated. Even in our modern era, archaeology remains heavily influenced by established paradigms. Artifacts that don't fit conventional timelines are often labeled hoaxes or relegated to museum basements. Researchers who propose alternative theories find themselves denied funding or academic positions. The ultimate question remains, if we are indeed the product of genetic engineering by an advanced extraterrestrial civilization, what does that mean for humanity today? Are the Anunnaki still out there? Will Nibiru return to our vicinity again? And do our creators maintain some influence over Earth's affairs, perhaps through bloodlines they established thousands of years ago? The Sumerian tablets suggest the Anunnaki expected to return. They describe Nibiru's orbit, bringing it back into our solar system every 3,600 years. If their calculations were correct, we may be approaching another visit from our cosmic creators. As we close this exploration, I encourage you to look at the evidence with fresh eyes. The gaps in human evolution, the sophisticated knowledge of ancient civilizations, the universal flood narratives, the genetic anomalies in our DNA, and the systematic suppression of alternative history all point to a profound possibility that we may be the descendants of what ancient people could only describe as gods. Thank you for joining me on this journey. If you found this information valuable, please like this video and share it with others who might be interested in humanity's hidden origins. Don't forget to subscribe for more content that challenges conventional wisdom and explores the mysteries of our ancient past. Until next time, keep questioning, keep searching for the truth.